Hi, it's Storytime with Carol Bass and Chris Porter today. And we are so excited to have everybody join us. This is really catching on, Chris. I'm telling you, I think I had close to, I don't know, 445 people watched our Storytime last week. And it has truly been fun. The reason we decided to do this is we want to remind all of you professionals out there, whether you're redesigners or stagers or whatever it is that you do in this industry, why we do what we do. And about 5 years ago, I created this book. Let me get it in the picture. If These Walls Could Talk. And I reached out and asked all the other staging and decorating professionals. Today I have with me Chris Porter. And Chris Porter, you used to be in Chicago and now you're in Arizona and loving it. And Chris contributed, I don't know, about 5 or 6 stories to the book, and they're all so good. So I called Chris and asked if she would share with us today. And she just recently moved, and guess what happened? She has sold all of her books. I said, Chris, can you read us a story out of your book? And she said, I think I just sold my last one. And I went, oh, okay, well, we can get you some more, but we can't get you more by 12 o'clock today. So anyway, I'm going to share the stories, and then Chris is going to jump in and tell us more about it. So we picked a really feel-good story. I like this one, Chris. And I'm going to share the story, and then you're going to kind of just jump in wherever and add to. But guys, you know, one of these days we're going to be in our beds, in our pajamas, and we're going to just read like, you know, I don't know, Dolly Parton and All the Stars are reading to the children. But I'm not reading to children, so I'm just going to read.
I'd love to be read to, so carry on, please.
All right. You never know about odds and ends. This is a story by Chris Porter. One client watched her home's main floor. She wanted her home's main floor, rather. The entry, the living room, dining room, kitchen, and family room, all restyled as part of the hands-on for a training class that Chris was teaching. She had just returned from visiting her terminally ill father. She had a box of odds and ends on her kitchen table that she brought back from her visit. She offhandedly said, "It's just a box of some old things, but you can use them if you want to." We worked to give the rooms a new look using only the furnishings she already had in her lovely room. When we finished, all the rooms had been transformed. We added most of the things in the box to her family room, making a cute collection on the fireplace mantel and the shelves. When she returned, she was happy with the changes in the entry. She commented with surprise at how different the living room and dining room looked, even using her old furniture, but in new placement. But when she turned the corner and saw her family room with the mementos of her father, the heavy sobbing started. Flowing tears, she said, "I had no idea how to use anything in that box of stuff. I love it. I have this overwhelming feeling that my dad is here with me, even that he is here with me now." Even though she had lightly mentioned that box of things, it was more important than she realized. That's why I learned to listen with my heart. What do you mean by that, Chris?
Oh, it really was a box of odds and ends, and it didn't feel
what kind of stuff was there? What kind of stuff was in the box?
Some juggling pins, some old bottles, like different like apothecary type bottles and different things. But they did sort of go together, but they didn't scream they needed to go into her home. But she casually mentioned she brought them back from Arizona after seeing her dad. And, you know, if you could use them, go ahead. And they gave height, and they gave a little more dimension, a little more texture into the room, and just kind of a nice little finishing detail. So every
color.
Yeah. And everyone that was working on the room kind of said, "Oh, it's fun to have a little bit of finishing detail in there."
Yeah.
Not everything looks like it was bought on exactly the same day, on exactly the same page out of the exactly the same magazine, you know?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Just so it was nice to kind of weave a little something different into the space. But I don't think she realized how important it was. But as through her sobbing tears, my dad is still with me. You just realize that some things are more than just stuff.
You know, I have always said through the years, you know, it's like I'll pick up a soup tureen, you know, and I think, now, you know, because I'm looking at the color, the size, the scale,
Yeah.
you know, how it would look on the dining room table. I'm doing all of that. And then to have them walk back in and say, oh my gosh, you used my mother's soup tureen and she just passed away, or my grandmother's soup tureen and she just passed away. And I can't believe that you put this out. And it's like, I didn't know what I was doing, but we just have that sense, you know, that,
Yeah.
and I mean, and I've touched some things. I mean, I've touched boxes that I think it was either Fluffy or maybe Grandma.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we touch things, but you know, if you study bookcases and things like that, you could almost write their story.
Yes. Isn't it amazing?
Been, you know, what they've loved, you know, so much about them. Because I feel like what we do is very intimate. So, well, now we're going to switch to some money, because all of
Yay.
you out there that are just now starting to do some staging and stuff, and you need some stories, the stories are in this book, and you need to order this book. And, you know, Chris has already sold all hers. I'm sorry, you'll have to order it from me.
I know, I need some more.
But you can, you know, you can get them on the DSA website or on my website. And if you have a story, see this coming along the bottom right down here, that, you know, you need to share your story with me, because I'm about to do a volume 2 and we want to put you in that one. So it's really special. Okay, now Chris, I'm going to read the one that you wrote about quarter of a century update.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Well, we
Everybody
both have clients this afternoon, don't we?
Yes,
Even
we
though
do.
we're quarantined, there's no one in the house except I'm going to meet the real estate agent. Anyone in your house?
They're just moving in with their old things in their new house, and they're not quite sure how to do it. So I'm meeting the wife, and we're going to stand 6 feet apart and wear masks. And
I know, this is so incredible, isn't it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, this is about Grace and her husband had built their home, and they had lived there for 25 years while raising their 3 children. They wanted to move closer to his job and downsize just a bit. They were shocked to learn that the current value of their home, since this market hasn't bounded back yet. Now, this must have been a few years ago, right, Chris? Because
yeah,
I don't know what this recession is going to do to things, but this was a while back.
right.
After viewing their house, comparing others in the neighborhood, and knowing what had closed recently, their agent delivered the bad news that, in its current condition, the house would be listed for less than they originally paid to build it 25 years ago. Now, that's a shocker.
That was hard news.
Yeah, what? Say that again?
Very hard news for the homeowners. You always hear that your house is a great investment. Well, you got to keep it up too. 25 years of just living there. Yes.
The trouble was they had not updated, just as Chris was saying, painted, or done a single thing since they first moved in. Grace admitted that she didn't have a decorating bone in her body. She said her sister-in-law had chosen the mauve walls in the living room and the baby blue for the family room. The vinyl floors from the entry to the kitchen showed its age with the dogs and the kids. The agent advised hiring a stager and getting this house on trend. Grace was concerned about spending more money, especially since it seemed like it was a losing proposition. She was open to a staging checklist as long as the items did not cost very much. Mm-hmm. So why don't you tell us what did you suggested to her, Chris?
Well, she definitely needed paint. Mm-hmm. And a lot of heavy editing. The vinyl floor in the entry was totally trashed. And first impressions are huge. You can't have somebody walk in and just see work, work, and work to be done. It was also filled with the items of raising 3 kids and keeping all of their extras when they moved out.
Right, right.
So there was a lot to do. A few lighting fixtures needed to be updated. Some of the handles and things were very overworn and off.
So you suggested all of those things for her. So she invested about $6,000 in the staging updates. That entire process took about 4 weeks and a lot of hard work. So they were really invested in getting this done. Mm-hmm. The agent put the house on the market on Thursday morning. Mm-hmm. It sold in the first hour in the MLS for, guess what? You tell us, Chris.
$50,000 more than what the agent was going to originally list it for. $50,000.
Yeah.
With $6,000 and more.
$50,000 more.
Zero, yeah.
So Grace was thrilled that her hard work had paid off. The $44,000 she made in the 4 weeks of hard work was a great return on her investment. Now she could take what she learned in this staging to live a simple and well-designed life in her new home. But she couldn't have done it without us, right? She couldn't have done it without you. You told her everything she needed to do, and she did it.
She did it. She really followed through. She really blessed others with her extras that she didn't need any longer, and was willing and ready to let go of things, giving her 3 grown kids anything that they wanted. But a lot of times children don't want to take this stuff.
Oh, tell me, I've lived that story. Yeah, I've lived that story. And, but guys, we all have stories. And when we get together, whether it's at a conference or wherever we are, it's not 5 minutes till we're sharing. Let me tell you about this client. So I want you to share with us. Let us know what you've got, and we'll put your story in the next book. Or maybe I'll just have you on this Be Live one Thursday morning, and we'll just all hop in the bed and talk about this. Chris, I want to thank you for joining us today. And guys, you guys be safe out there. I think it's about to change again, so we'll see what happens. And I want to thank you so much, Chris, for joining us.
Thank you, Carol. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.